Hi, good to see you again. In this weight loss tip, I'm going to share with you my insights into food cravings. Now, I'm not a naturopath, I'm not a dietitian, but then you don't need to be to understand the basics of food cravings. Now, back in the 80s, I read an article that stated that a Scottish scientist had shown that salt was bad for health. So I cut down on salt, and then I followed every bit of information that came out on diet from there on. I went vegetarian. I did the food combining diet. I did the alkalizing diet. I grew trays of my own wheatgrass. I sprouted lentils. I juiced huge bags of carrots, ate huge quantities of bananas, ate nuts and seeds. I think I did just about every vegetarian diet that exists on the planet, I went vegan. I nearly died on the vegan diet, but I was sure that I hadn't done it right, so I tried again, Eventually, when it looked like I was going to have to go to hospital to deal with a severe case of hemorrhoids, by chance, a naturopathic friend, who had suggested to me earlier that I do all the vegan stuff, he said, hey, take a look at the Weston A. Price Foundation. And from that day forward, my health began to improve. Now, back when I was a vegan, I used to hang out a lot with a lot of naturopath students. And I also used to consult at Hippocrates Health Centre on the Gold Coast as an NLP hypnotherapist. Now, the guests would come to the health centre to do a cleanse for a week, which entailed a vegan diet. Now, one lunchtime I watched as one of the staff members, who shall remain nameless, cooked up a couple of boiled eggs on a camping stove in his room. He then mixed the eggs in with his raw vegan lunch, and we went down to the lunch area to eat with the guests. One of the guests remarked how healthy we all looked, and yet they were not aware that the staff member was eating eggs with his meal, or that he would go downtown for dinner, to buy pizza and take away chicken. So what does this deception have to do with food cravings? Well, let's say you go on a politically correct low-fat diet. What happens is you get depleted in the fat-soluble vitamins A, E, and D. We can feel that something's missing. We feel hungry, even though we may have eaten like a lot of calories, because there are essential nutrients missing. The unconscious mind says, give me food, and creates thoughts of food, And then the person thinks they must have food cravings. No, you don't have food cravings. You are hungry. In some cases, the food cravings may be a result of a food allergy, but that's like a different story. Now, back in the 80s, I used to mix with a lot of New Age people who were vegetarian. And I was at a yoga centre one afternoon in the kitchen, and I watched as a woman came in to prepare food for dinner. So it was her time to cook the dinner. So she whips up pasta and a sauce, and a bit of low-fat salad, and that was it. Half an hour later, a dozen of us sat down to eat. She said, oh, I love pasta. But to me, it looked like she liked the convenience of preparing pasta. It was easy. Anyway, immediately after the meal, she and others started reaching for the chocolate, with comments like, oh, I like chocolate, and you watch their faces. And it's the same look the drug addicts get when they anticipate their favourite drug, And the only reason they were reaching for the chocolate was because the main meal was depleted in nutrients. And now they went for chocolate because chocolate's a source of fat. And the chocolate also provides those feel-good chemicals that they ordinarily would have been created from a nutritious meat-based meal. Anyway, another time, another location. We ate our vegetarian dinner, and immediately afterwards, one friend stood up. He cut off a huge slice of bread, slathered it with butter, took a bite. He lets out this orgasmic sense of relief, as his body finally got something to help balance out the nutrient-depleted meal. Now, by the expression on his face, it looked like he'd taken a drug. In the 90s, I used to sit down by myself for a so-called healthy meal. So I'd have a huge plate of brown rice, steamed vegetables, some tofu, and then I would spoon out like a teaspoonful of olive oil, because fat is dangerous. So you can only have small quantities. And while I was eating, all I could think of was food. All I could think of was my next meal. And then sometimes, like on a Saturday night, the cravings would build. And I would have to drive a half an hour to an all-night supermarket, to buy a cheesecake. And that was the worst cheesecake that you could imagine. And then I parked my car down by the beach and I ate the whole cheesecake, worrying all the time that the fat might give me a heart attack. So I reckon, I have a degree in food cravings, I've been there and done that. But once I shifted to a meat-based, traditional foods type diet, all my food cravings disappeared because I was giving my body the nutrients that it needed. Okay, so now we fast forward to last week. So a woman came to see me to get help in losing weight. She was on a low-fat diet. She ate Wheat Bix and banana for breakfast or had low-fat yogurt. So by mid-morning, she was hungry. So then she snacks on protein bars. And by the afternoon, she's snacking on chocolate bars, Now, she thought she had food cravings, but in reality, she was nutrient depleted. And she'd misinterpreted the body sensations to mean cravings rather than hunger for real food. So this story is so typical of the women I've worked with over the last 30 years. Anyway, guess what this woman ate on the weekend? Bacon and eggs for breakfast. Did she have food cravings on the weekend? No. So why did she eat Wheat Bix and banana and low-fat yogurt on weekdays? Because this is politically correct. When she had bacon and eggs on the weekend, did she have food cravings? No. Did she snack on protein bars and chocolate on the weekend? No. So why did she eat bacon and eggs on the weekend? It's because she wanted to give herself a treat. These are her words. On the weekend, she trusted her unconscious mind enough to direct her towards healthy food. The problem was she'd got it all back to front, and she got fat. So if you want to overcome food cravings and binge eating, if you want to lose weight, then start by giving yourself real food. That's the tip, all right? Food that contains all the nutrients that the body needs. So what should you eat? Well, just look to traditional groups that sustain themselves for generations. Look to people who are well proportioned and then ask them what they ate as a child. Ask them what their parents ate. Now trust me, if you give your body what the body needs, the food cravings will disappear. And I talk from personal experience and working with many people over 3 decades, and also from a whole network of naturopaths who once were vegetarian, vegan, but all are now meat eaters. Now, there's an article on my website which explores the myths and facts around the Mediterranean diet, which will give you some insights into what the body needs for optimum health. And you can just modify it to suit your own beliefs and heritage and genetics and all that sort of stuff. There's also some free coaching materials on my website. Details are in the description below this video. So that's our weight loss tip for today. To get my other weight loss tips, just make sure that you subscribe to my channel. Please like the video and share it on Facebook and your favorite social networking sites if you like. I'd really appreciate that. And please let me know how you progress with your weight goals, right? And if you want to make friends with me on Facebook, just search for Abby Eagle Australia. I also have a business page which you might want to follow as well. And I look forward to talking to you soon.